What's going on, everyone, and welcome to the first proper episode of my How to Gain SR series. My name is Dodge Gaming. Like and subscribe if you enjoy, and we'll get straight into it. Today we are covering a lesson on tilting. Tilting is essentially what we call it when a game makes you angry, hostile, or vaguely triggered in any way which then affects our gaming performance negatively from then on in. That's the triggering part. Usual causes are along the lines of getting absolutely spanked, terrible teammates, lag, or just genuinely playing a bit shit. Now the definition lesson is out of the way. We'll talk about why you should avoid it and how. Following these little pieces of advice, I personally promise you, you will make that climb through the ranks not only easier, but far more enjoyable in the long run. Number one, it doesn't help. It just doesn't. Tilting just doesn't help. Watch any pro team playing in a competition or even just on Twitch and try to count how many times you see or hear someone raging out. To save you the time, you won't see it. They might briefly lose their cool or share some terse words with the teammates, but they won't carry that over into the next round or even into their next life because it just doesn't help. Losing your patience and your cool will only damage your performance in that game, and that will just increase exponentially if you let it carry over to the next game. Number two, it's annoying. Having someone in your team that constantly blames everything except his or herself for bad performances is just plain irritating, and will cause friction with the more laid-back teammates over time. It's just a fact. At the end of the day, you will lose games, and you will make mistakes. It's unavoidable, and when that happens, the best reaction is just to evaluate what happened and why, and how best to avoid it in future. A lot of people I've played with on Overwatch tend to go out of their way to blame others. I've heard people blaming players that are carrying, blaming Blizzard for poor game design, and going so far as to blame their teammates even when they are obviously playing significantly worse than said teammates. Again, making a habit of scapegoating losses and poor performances onto your teammates will just alienate them. Instead, you should be readily capable of admitting your own shortcomings and taking some blame. Number three, touching again onto one of the points I've mentioned, you have to accept you're going to lose games. Doesn't matter how good you are or how good you think you are, there is always someone better in some aspect, and as such, losing games is just a fact. Losing streaks are also pretty commonplace and can cause a lot of tilt, understandably, over extended periods of time. My advice, if you're on a losing streak, take a break and come back to it later. Whether you're going for food, or fucking around in arcade, or just going to watch some Netflix, just do something else that isn't as demanding as competitive. The other option is just to not care. This isn't easy, but it's something I manage pretty well for the most part personally. If you focus on playing your best in your chosen role, beyond that, there is nothing you can do. By accepting that fact, it becomes a lot easier to analyse losses, deaths, and even hard-fought victories to see what could have been done better in the moment, and how best to improve in your next game. Here's an example. If I pick Tracer, right? Tracer's role is extremely well defined within Overwatch. If I pick Tracer and finish with 3 gold medals in eliminations, damage and objective kills, and I know that I made life hard for their supports, but I still lose, then it's on my teammates. There's nothing more I could have done in my role as Tracer. And knowing that makes it far easier to accept defeats, but if I pick Tracer and don't pick up more than just a silver in eliminations, then I didn't do enough as a DPS, and knowing that is important in any team game. You have to read the positives and the negatives in any game. Number 4, and finally for today, is have fun. Overwatch, at the end of the day, is just a game. It's designed for people to have fun with. It's not life or death, and for most of us, there's nothing on the line except a fictional rank inside the game. That and some time commitment, obviously. If a pro Overwatch player that's got millions of prize money on the line doesn't lose his temper when he dies, you have no right to lose your temper when you die. Accepting that it's not really that important is basically key to avoiding tilt altogether, and bypassing everything else I've mentioned becomes a lot easier. Obviously, healthy competition is great, but as long as it's positive competition and it doesn't stress you out or cause you to magically turn into a cunt, then great. If, however, it does turn you into a cunt, then have a little lie down and try to consider what effect that negative outlook might be having on the rest of the people in your game or party. I've won a lot of games that originally looked like losses just by being laid back and keeping a cool head. That's a fact. Anyway guys, that's my short video on tilting, what it is, why not to do it, and how to avoid it. I hope you enjoyed and it is vaguely helpful in some way. Avoiding tilt really is the easiest way to climb SR, as it means your losses and bad gains won't affect your outlook or positivity in the long run. On the day of recording this script, I had played 9 games on my main account, won 5 in a row, and then lost 4 in a row. Those 4 losses make that one of my longest losing streaks of recent memory. Do you want to know how many times I got angry at the game, triggered, or even just vaguely abusive? Not even once. That is the only way you should play Overwatch and video games in general. The next video in this series will be about knowing your place within the ranking system of Overwatch and actually self-evaluating how much you actually deserve to rise through the ranks. Like and subscribe if you enjoy, and I will see you guys next time. My name has been Dodge Gaming, you've all been awesome. Peace.
She looked at me and this is what she said. Oh, there ain't no rest for the wicked. Money don't grow on trees. I got bills to pay.